Kelvin Collett is the Managing Director of Supersonic. Kelvin, it's good to see you. You guys had a fantastic year in 2020, so many accolades, and I'm sure that you are going at supersonic speeds as well in 2021, just judging by the need for data and connectivity thanks to COVID-19. Firstly, tell me a bit, how are you? Am I correct in my assessment that you guys are moving at supersonic speed?
Yeah, okay, absolutely. I mean, we've really had a fantastic start to the year. We actually had our record month since starting Supersonic in March. So it's really an indication of firstly, COVID, I guess, is one aspect, but then just the need for internet, secondly.
Yeah, no, listen, it's exciting times, and you know, I mean, you guys have got a very stable platform. People are talking about it. People are talking about your fixed LTE, the speeds that you guys are getting. So well done to you guys. You know, Kelvin, you launched an interesting product, and you and I were chatting about it just recently. I was at one of the towers, and I was quite intrigued by it. You're calling it unlimited AirFiber. Now, for people who haven't heard of unlimited AirFiber, tell us a little bit about it and what it does.
So actually about 2 years ago, we put a challenge to ourselves to say, you know, as of today, there are 2.3 million homes fibered past, okay? And of that, 940,000 are connected. Now, if you take that South Africa has 18 million households, there's such a big gap there. So we set ourselves a goal to say, listen, how do we bridge that gap? But it's got to have 3 pillars for success. One is guaranteed speeds. 2, it's got to be uncapped/unlimited. And 3, it's got to have a price point that is affordable for most of South Africans, not just the elite. So yeah, 2 years ago, we embarked on this journey, and we've since managed to launch the product. So we did a proof of concept for most of 2020, just testing the product. And yeah, we're launching it now. So we're super excited. The first commercial customer will go live on the 1st of May. And we've already got customers live, first commercial customer live 1st of May. So basically it gives you 3 things. It gives you the price point that we wanted, which is super important for us. It gives a guaranteed speed, which was important. And then it's uncapped. And I think the uncapped part was crucial because there are lots of products. Our fixed LTE products out there, there's lots of products out there, but they don't fulfill those 3 criteria. So this product really fulfills those 3 criteria, and then it's easily accessible. So because we leverage our existing tower capacity throughout MTN, we're able to launch this product pretty quickly. Okay. You know, I think in the interview we had with you, we'll cover over 600,000 homes in our first year as an absolute minimum. So it's a great milestone for a brand new product.
So it's quite an interesting product. The way you explained it to me, it sits on a traditional MTN tower and it talks to another tower line of sight, if I'm not mistaken, or the receiver whose home might be several kilometers away receives a signal, and that's how you get the speed and the right latency, etc. Just explain to us technically.
Yeah, correct. Okay, I mean, ultimately, so the base station, so we leverage MTN's base stations. So each sector can do 90 degrees, and that can service 500 customers. So a tower can service 2,000 customers in total. And then we install a unit on the customer's premises. It's much like a DSTV dish, but just a lot smaller. It's about the size of an A4 piece of paper, mounted on their wall, and that points towards the antenna. Now, the real benefit of this product, if you're within 3 kilometers, it's completely non-line of sight. So you don't have to see the tower, and you'll still get a great signal, okay? If we're within 5 kilometers, it's near line of sight. So if there are a couple of trees and stuff, but you still see the tower, you'll be fine. And then up to 15 kilometers is complete line of sight. So it's a massive coverage area that we ultimately can cover with this product.
That is pretty impressive. I mean, and what kind of speeds are you talking about in latency?
Yeah, I mean, it's below 20 milliseconds latency, and we're guaranteeing speeds of 100 megasecond. Now, the radios are giving us 700 megasecond off the radios. So, I mean, we're actually throttling them down to 100, but they're giving us 700 megasecond. So, yeah, it's highly impressive.
That's amazing. How different is that from fixed LTE, for example? I mean, I imagine the distance is a lot better because you've got a further distance you cover. What are the other key differences from a product like fixed LTE, for example?
So the one is guaranteed speed. So fixed LTE, we can never guarantee a speed. It depends on, congestion on the tower and various other factors. Because we do a physical install at the home, it's the distance factor, as you rightly pointed out. And then it's the uncapped factor. And I think that's a really important part for us as a company is, we need to experience internet like it's supposed to be. You need uncapped, unlimited data. You can't be watching your cap every 5 minutes and worrying that you run out of data, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So those are the primary differentiators between the product.
So now people are saying, oh, I haven't got fiber in my area. I want fiber-like speeds. They're listening to us talking and they're saying, this product is for me. And I know you've been doing your proof of concept and you're rolling out on the 1st of May. Who's going to be the first area that's going to get this in May?
In May. So the first areas we're going to cover Mamelodi, Soweto, then the Greater Johannesburg, Greater Pretoria, Rustenburg, most of the Durban Metropole, right up to Pietermaritzburg, Cape Town, right up to the Winelands, most of East London, most of Port Elizabeth, as well as George. So those are, and the interesting thing is that those areas were part of our Show My Interest campaign, which we didn't expect. We expected the small towns to be of higher interest. But what turned out is there are lots of little areas, as we call them, fiber scarce areas, within your major metropoles that don't have fiber. So there's huge need for it in the major metropoles, but they're fiber scarce areas. So yeah, it's interesting the coverage we're getting and the areas that we're rolling out in phase 1.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that you found it fascinating, the people that responded that wanted a service like this. And I mean, if you look at the bigger perspective, I guess it all fits into this long-term plan. And why unlimited AirFiber, for example, and not extending further on LTE, which I guess fixed LTE has its limitations and fiber is expensive to lay out. So why did you choose this specific product, for example?
So, okay, back to the price point. So fixed LTE, firstly, it's spectrum dependent. So obviously with the limitation of spectrum, we had to look for a product that wasn't reliant on current spectrum. And as you rightly say, fiber is a difficult product to roll out. You need way leaves, it's trenching, it's a long rollout period. So we were looking for a wireless product that didn't need spectrum. Now, the problem with open spectrum or unlicensed spectrum products is they prone to interference ultimately. So we looked for a product that could do interference cancellation properly, and it also does beamforming. So it's those two specific things that make this product unique. So it does very, very clever interference cancellation as well as beamforming. So every single signal that it sends out 6 beams, all right? And ultimately it connects those 6 beams on the other side. So even if one beam collects 10%, the other 20%, one 50%, one 70%, it collates all of those at the end to put a full packet packet at the end of the day. So very, very clever technology at the end of the day.
And does contention ratio play into this, or is that not affected by this technology?
So we manage that on the tower. So I guess there is a level of contention ratio, but we manage that very specifically on the tower. So what we would rather do is just spin up another tower or put more equipment on another tower. So this equipment's also clever enough. If there is another tower, it will actually connect to the next tower if it's running out of capacity on the current one. So very clever technology.
So a typical household, for example, let's say there's a family of 4, you've got 2 young teenagers, you've got Netflix streaming in the background, you've got, mom and dad working and doing video conferencing. So there's a lot of network traffic happening simultaneously. Will that be sufficient for a household, say, of 4 or 5 people with all of that happening in the background?
Absolutely. The great benefit is it's very fiber-like. So if you take a 20 meg service in a scenario like that, I would recommend a 20 or 50 meg service. You'll have absolutely no problem running those services across that network. It's built for low latency, high capacity, and that's what it delivers.
And what about weather, Kelvin? Is the weather, if there's a storm happening while you're trying to connectivity, will a storm or weather impact your connectivity?
I think that's one of the benefits. It runs in the sub 6 gigahertz range, which isn't susceptible to weather. The higher the gigahertz range, it's more susceptible. So like satellite is in your 50 to 60 gigahertz range, and hence why our DSTV, etc., is affected during, rainstorms and so on and so forth. So being sub 6 gigahertz, it isn't affected by rain. So there's no rain fade or anything like that. So yeah, you're not going to have connectivity problems.
And tell me, is this product mobile? I know you install this size of an A4 receiver on the one side. If you go on holiday, can you take that with you and connect to a tower that offers the same service? Or do you have to be fixed at your specific location that you've purchased the service from?
Yeah, no, okay, it is fixed. So it's specifically to that location. And also because it requires a physical install. So, I guess if you had to move from one home to another, we could deinstall it and reinstall it, but it would require our installers to do it. So it's not something that you could, as a layman, do. It requires our physical installers to do that.
This is just brilliant technology. I love the idea of it, and I'm sure that many people are listening to us and watching us and are saying, wow, I don't have fiber in my area. This is talking to me. Are you at liberty to talk about the price point yet or not?
Yeah, absolutely, Aki. So our launch price is $399 for 5 megabits per second uncapped. Okay, and $399 was our proxy. So we kind of looked at DSTV Compact as our baseline and said, listen, we need to get people onto the internet. And how do we do that? So $399 for 5 megabits uncapped. Then it's $499 for 10 megabits uncapped. $599 for 20 megabits uncapped, $799 for 50, and $999 for 100 meg uncapped.
That's really very, very competitive value. Now, you speak about specifically homes. Is this pricing available for businesses as well who want to utilize this that don't have fiber in the area?
Aki, SMEs only, so certainly not any big businesses, but small businesses, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's definitely aimed at small businesses as well.
You guys are working on some really, really exciting stuff, bringing that connectivity to people. What's next? What are you working on next after AirFiber?
Okay, it's interesting. We've had such a massive interest in AirFiber. I mean, today we've already got 20,000 pre-orders, which is interesting. Our entire target is about 15,000. So, we're sitting right now we're exceeding our targets from a pre-orders perspective, but that's certainly not going to stop us. But then looking at offering more fixed mobile convergent products. So trying to converge our current fixed line, so AirFiber, Fixed LTE, and fiber products with the mobile offering. So trying to offer a single data package, voice package, etc., from a single bundle. So that's ultimately our focus going forward. So that we look at launching somewhere around Q3, Q4. But yeah, a lot going on at the moment. Just
coming back to AirFiber, would you encourage people to switch from fixed LTE to this product if they want that unlimited access, for example? Is this competition to fixed LTE, I guess?
Yes, okay, ultimately it is. I mean, fixed LTE has a place and a purpose, and we're certainly not trying to compete against it. It's a horses for courses type of product. So on fixed LTE, you might get a higher speed, but it's going to be capped. So if you're looking for, so I'm talking like $399, you could get 20 meg a second, but you only got a 60-60 cap.
That's right.
But on $399 on AirFiber, it's a 5 meg uncapped service. But 5 meg uncapped, you can run an HD movie for which is about 4 meg a second. So, even at 5 meg a second, you're still there's enough capacity there to ultimately run it. So I don't think it's either or. I think it's both. And I think there'll be a fair amount of switching from one to the other, which we're completely comfortable with. It decongests our towers, which is in spectrum either way. So it's a positive thing for the network either way. So it's certainly not something that we're concerned about if people do start moving from fixed LTE to AirFiber, because, as I say, it's complementary, not, it doesn't compete against it.
Kelvin, Collett, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Continue innovating as you have been at Supersonic. And by the sounds of it, another supersonic speed coming to your network with your customers and transitioning, and you're offering the service to customers who don't have that fiber speed and want to get those fiber speeds. Well done, and thank you for joining us at the MyBroadband conference.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.